Back with Michael Avenatti, who says today that there are new women coming forward claiming they were also paid by Donald Trump or others for their silence. He intriguingly mentions it could even include the same tabloid company in the middle of this whole Cohen case.
There are 3 additional female clients of mine that have not been disclosed that were paid hush money prior to the 2016 election, whether it be from Michael Cohen on behalf of the president, an entity that Michael Cohen formed, or AMI. That's what I'm saying.
But those women had relationships with the president, with Donald Trump?
Well, last time I checked, they weren't just handing out checks to anyone, whether they had a relationship or not.
Michael Avenatti, making news. Why are you putting out the idea that there are these 3 women now, and why are you putting it out in this manner without more information or their names?
Well, I'm not putting the idea out there, Ari. I'm stating a fact. I have 3 clients that have hired me as their counsel. Each of them had a relationship with Mr. Trump. Each of them were paid hush money prior to the 2016 election. And the time had come to disclose that. And we're going to be disclosing additional details here, hopefully shortly, as soon as the clients authorize me to release specifics relating to their each individual instance. But here's what I find to be...
I want to hear you on that, but let me press you on that. There have been other times in this wide-ranging case where you've put out substantiating information, written information, or you've made a client available for public interviewing. That's usually, in our business, how we verify facts. Here, you're asking people to take it on your authority without the additional information, and this has been going for a while. What, in your view, is holding them back, or why not more information now?
Well, because it's a big decision for each of these individual women to come forward and release their name and provide specifics. I mean, this is serious business, Ari. You know, you subject yourself to the scrutiny of the press, and you subject yourself to the scrutiny of Fox News and others when you do that. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very serious decision, a big decision for them. But look, if people don't want to believe me on it, that's fine. I mean, I think that's pretty risky in light of my track record over the last 6 months. But ultimately,
does at least one of them involve AMI?
Yes.
And that would be a previously undisclosed, it's not Karen McDougal, correct?
Correct.
So you're talking about something that is very significant, that is embedded in the wider news you made in the clip we just showed. If at least one of them involves AMI, then you're saying this company, which is under significant scrutiny in the Cohen case by the feds in New York, was also doing something else allegedly on behalf of Donald Trump?
Yes.
Could that then raise their exposure for campaign finance violations or other misleading of the authorities about what they were doing with that money?
Yes, and I think it'll do the same for Michael Cohen. And let me tell you what I find most interesting, Ari. It's late now on the East Coast. We haven't got a single denial from Michael Cohen, Lanny Davis, or Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani. Not a single denial. No one has come out and said, oh, that Avenatti guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It never happened. What does that tell you? Well,
they've said that before, Michael, to be fair.
Well, yeah, and they've been wrong.
They're on the record saying you don't know what you're talking about. When you look at AMI figuring into all this, it is hard to understand why a corporation with its own self-interest and profit interest would get so deeply involved in taking these risks on behalf of another person. Can you shed any light on that?
Well, I think it may come down to a personal relationship and how tight the individuals at the top of that company are or were with Donald Trump at the end of the day. I mean, I think that probably would help explain it. But, you know, as we've talked about before, this is a president that demands loyalty from everyone and provides loyalty to no one with the exception of Vladimir Putin.
Well, I appreciate the nickname there. Let me play for you one of the theories that comes up with this, because the tape, the Cohen tape, which of course it is true that you said would come out and would have Trump on it, and it did, refers to the idea that they were nervous about what would happen if they didn't have, as you put it, such a close friend at the head of that tabloid company. This is reporter Betsy Woodruff. Take a listen.
The reason that that conversation happened, according to a source familiar with it, is because David Pecker, who's the head of the parent company of the National Enquirer, told President Trump that he was thinking about leaving that company. Trump then thought, oh no, if my ally leaves this tabloid company, the company could then go ahead and publish the Karen McDougal story.
What is your assessment of that?
Well, my assessment is that that they were wise to think that that would be a concern. And I think that ultimately what you're going to find out is that one of the reasons why they moved away from that concept, that use of AMI as to some of these other payments, was for this exact concern. That's why the $130,000 payment to my client, for instance, was not made through AMI. That's why the 2 additional payments that I referenced last night were not made through AMI for this exact reason. They wanted to close the circle, if you will, so that the president thought he had greater protection with his fixer, Michael Cohen, who turned out not to be tough and not to be too smart.
Do you have reason to know or believe what AMI got in return for spending this money?
No. But I can speculate that it would have to be access or preferential treatment. I mean, I don't think they did it out of the good graces of their heart.
No, I mean, that's not what corporations are known for, and it's not even what their fiduciary duties provide for. As to Michael Cohen's assessment, a potential factual assertion that Donald Trump did okay the Trump Tower meeting, was that news to you when that news broke last night?
No, it was not news to me, nor was it news to me today when they immediately went after, or last night and today, immediately went after Michael Cohen and now claim that he's a liar. You know, this is going to be quite a show, Ari, that's going to play out in the coming weeks and months. You know, I think on your show, it was the first instance back in early May that I said that they had put too much faith in Michael Cohen. I mean, anybody could see that. What's so ironic to me is, and you played the clip earlier from the president's former attorney, you know, everyone that knew Michael Cohen or had anything to do with him knew that he wasn't that tough and he wasn't that smart. It's amazing that this president would trust him with his innermost secrets. And it just goes to show you what a complete lack of judgment the president has in so many aspects of his life.
That's an interesting point. It's your opinion, but it's somewhat grounded in the risks we're seeing. When you just said, though, a moment ago in response to my question that you knew this, it wasn't news to you, how did you know that Michael Cohen had collusion-related evidence?
Well, again, Ari, I'm not at liberty to get into details of all of my sources and how I know things. But again, you know, a lot of my predictions have turned out to be spot on in this case.
Well, we ask you these questions because a lot of people do want to know how you know things.
Well, and as you know, we have a concept under the law relating to attorney work product, and we're not at liberty to disclose a lot of that information, very similar to journalists.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.